Hello, my name is Jeff Graber. I'm an Associate Director for the New Jersey Excel program, which is administered through the Foundation for Educational Administration. NJExcel is an alternative program for teachers and supervisors who would like to become assistant principals, directors, assistant superintendents, and school superintendents in New Jersey. I'd like to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about school finance in New Jersey. And as we all know, school finance is on the front page of every newspaper almost on a daily basis. As such, I'd like to go over a couple of things that this session will provide you with at the conclusion. We'd like to talk about the political, social, economic, and legal context of school finance in the state of New Jersey. We'll also discuss the relationship of fiscal issues and student outcomes. And we'll also touch upon the real importance of maximizing school financial efficiency on a daily basis. Here are some fast facts about school finance in New Jersey and also in the United States. Without question, education is big business. About $500 billion is spent on public education each year. And that number is certainly going to increase in subsequent years. In New Jersey specifically, approximately $8 billion is given by the state of New Jersey to help run New Jersey's public schools, and this comes in the form of state education aid to local school districts. One of the issues that confronts the state of New Jersey and educators and administrators in particular, the issue of school funding and how do we pay for public education above and beyond what the state of New Jersey gives school districts in the form of state aid. Now in New Jersey, as is common across the country, the primary funding source of school finance is property taxes. This is an issue not only in New Jersey, it's an issue, as I mentioned a few moments ago, across the country. Beyond the funding issue, you have, if you go down one or two levels, the issue of urban and suburban disparities, and simply meaning what the local district or what the local community can raise in terms of supporting public education above and beyond whatever state aid districts receive. In New Jersey, there was an important case that we can look at as the historical underpinnings of the school finance issue, again in New Jersey, and that's the Abbott versus Burke case. This has been going on since around 1975, and the poorest districts in New Jersey, basically your large city districts, have come to the courts for fiscal relief. The Abbott versus Burke question was to resolve the right of all children to receive a thorough and efficient education as guaranteed by the New Jersey state constitution, regardless of where they lived, if they lived in a high wealth area or if they lived in a moderate wealth area or in a low wealth area. The New Jersey Supreme Court, through a series of decisions, ordered the state of New Jersey to provide major increases in funding to the low wealth districts, and these districts are known as the 31 Abbott districts. The plaintiffs in this case were represented through the Educational Law Center in Newark over the years. So essentially, through the Abbott v. Burke decisions, there was a creation of what is known as the 31 Abbott districts, and these were your low wealth districts. They were designated through a complex formula that was developed by the state of New Jersey. And the state of New Jersey, through this formula, designated districts according to a DFG, or district factor grouping. And very simply, your low wealth districts were in the low range of the alphabet, your A and B districts, and some of these districts, again, were your large city districts, such as Elizabeth, Trenton, Jersey City, Newark, Camden. And your higher wealth districts were the higher letters of the alphabet, and this was done for convenience factors, such as your Princetons, your Montgomery, your Mendhams, your Livingston, etc. Now, over the years, the state of New Jersey has put in place a number of funding formulas to be responsive to what the Supreme Court has ordered. Even going back to the Florio administration, you might recall QEA, the Quality Education Act. The most recent formula was developed by the Corzine administration. That goes back to January 2008, the School Funding Reform Act. The current administration in Trenton, under Governor Christie, will be developing another funding formula. However, the state legislature did pass back last year, and it was effective January 1, 2011, a 2% cap on property tax increases. So with that property tax increase limitation, it has an enormous impact on the way school financial matters are run at the building level and also at the district level. It means a lot for school administrators, principals, vice principals, directors, assistant superintendents, and superintendents. Essentially, when we cut through all the rhetoric, it simply means that we have to work a lot smarter and do things with a lot less in terms of our resources. There are some guiding principles that I would like to recommend to you in terms of when you're building your budgets in the future and when you're beginning to draw down your budgets. Clearly, building principals, program supervisors need to involve your staff in the development of the budget. I would also strongly recommend that a good inventory is taken of everything that you have before you ask for any piece of new equipment, any new program, or any other type of material. Essentially, what I'm recommending is know what you have before you ask for more. That's good data, and it could be very helpful in your presentation to your superintendent or your Board of Education in terms of trying to implement new materials or particularly new programs. It's also important, based on our experiences working with principals and with other school administrators, to internalize your district and school level goals. You really need to know what you want to do at the building level, and does it mesh with school district goals and the goals of the Board of Education. Everybody really needs to be on the same page to move the organization forward and to also ask for the requisite resources to help you to move the organization forward. Other recommendations I would have, some of these are very simple. I'm sure you're doing these, but I would like to reinforce this with you. Clearly, it's critically important to follow all timelines set by your business administrator and your superintendent in terms of your budget cycle. They're not driving this. The state of New Jersey, through the county executive superintendent's office, they're the drivers of this in terms of deadlines and when things need to go to the county office and then subsequently, if necessary, to the state for approval. So follow the calendar to the day. Very, very important. I would also strongly recommend that you use good data in your decision-making process, and we talked about that a few moments ago. All your decisions need to be data-driven and backed up with the requisite information. Live by your budget. It's very important that your spending plan be administered on a daily, monthly, and yearly basis according to your plan. Now, let me give you an example of this. Generally, school districts allow principals and program administrators to begin drawing down the next year's fiscal funds in late June. And remember, your fiscal year goes in New Jersey from July 1 to June 30th. So you would get your purchase orders, requisitions to the business office by mid-June, and the purchase orders would be cut in July, so that as a building principal or program manager, you have everything that you need and that your students need and that your teachers need for the first day of school in September. There's also another piece to this. With the new audit regulations, when your auditors come in, and we'll talk about auditors in a few moments, school districts cannot be buying textbooks in February for the current school year. Logically, we wouldn't want to do that. However, that would constitute a major audit exception. So you have to be careful that your spending plan begins July 1, and that's when you begin to spend your funding accordingly. And the other piece that I would recommend is that the budget is cyclical. As you're spending your budgetary plan for the current fiscal year, you're going to be also thinking about subsequent budget cycles while you're in the current fiscal year. So you're kind of on a 2 or 3 plane program as you're moving your school or your program forward. Clearly, the whole issue of accountability is tied into resources and student achievement. And I know as building principals and program administrators, your focus every day is on improving student achievement. And student achievement can mean so many different things. Clearly, it's test scores. We all know that. But beyond test scores, you're looking at attendance. You're looking at a high school level. What's your graduation rate for your students? What's your college acceptances? Where are the students going? What are their post-secondary plans? How many AP courses do you have? How are the students doing on the AP examination? What's your degree of parental involvement? So as experienced administrators, or some of you might be new administrators, there's a lot more to academic success than just looking at student test scores. Yes, they're important, but I would recommend look at the big picture and how is your budget and the way you have planned your budget and you're spending it. What's the impact at the end of the school year and the end of the fiscal year? Strongly recommend that you monitor your budget with great care. Treat your dollars that are allocated as your own money in terms of being very careful and following your spending plan to the letter. If you need to make an adjustment, you work in close concert with your business administrator and or your superintendent, because under new financial regulations, districts are severely limited in the way they can transfer funds from one account to another account. I would urge you to remember that your school business administrator's report card, her report card, is the annual school audit. The bottom line is, as a program administrator or principal director, assistant principal. You don't want to do anything that will create an audit exception. That's something that a school business administrator does not want. Again, with new regulations in the state of New Jersey, particularly with the role of the county executive superintendent. The county executive superintendent has enormous authority in terms of monitoring school budgets, and the county superintendent has enormous authority in terms of regulating school districts that have 2 years of the same audit exceptions. So we don't even want to go there. So what you can do as a building principal or program director is carefully monitoring your budget and making sure that dollars are spent according to plan and that there are no audit exceptions. I'll give you a specific example. High school principals, many times the student activities account gives them fits in terms of kind of monitoring where the dollars are spent, how they're spent, when they're spent. And invariably, that is an area where audit exceptions do pop up from time to time. So as a high school principal, whatever you can do to monitor your student activities account, and this certainly middle school principals have student activity accounts also, and even some elementary principals, that's one where you want to be sure that there's no warning signs of a problem. So all I'm suggesting is stay ahead of the curve on things like that. I have here for you just a few references or resources that you might want to go to for additional reading or additional information. I would also be delighted if you wanted to call me here at our office, the Foundation for Educational Administration in Monroe Township, New Jersey. Our telephone number is 609-860-1200. Just ask for me, ask for Jeff Graber, and I'd be more than happy to discuss any particular situation or question that you might have as it relates to school finance. Again, to sum up, school finance, education is big business. A lot of money is spent, over $500 billion, on our public schools. I believe, for the most part, it's well-spent dollars. We're doing a good job, but we need to be vigilant, particularly in New Jersey, where we have property tax caps, the 2% cap that kicked in January 1, 2011. We have the Supreme Court ready to issue additional guidelines based on the governor's cut last year of school budgets of approximately $1 billion, and there's a possibility of other cuts coming forth for the next fiscal year. We can do it, but we have to work a little bit smarter and, again, stay ahead of the curve. Thank you for watching.